All right, well, we've talked about a number of things: effective boards, effective chairs, effective strategy making, effective return on investment in boards, and selecting the sacred task, the CEO, if you get to that point. In summary, I just want to say that I believe deeply that a board, whether it's a sounding board, an advisory board, or a fiduciary board, can add ongoing value to your business. And the two fundamental reasons for that is it's going to give you some perspective outside of your own activities, which is going to be hugely valuable, and it's going to force you to be more reflective yourself as a founder, entrepreneur, C-suite team. So the combination of those two, I think, give you every opportunity to get value out of your board, a return on that investment. But it's not easy, and I termed it careful craftsmanship earlier on. And I'd say as you evolve from an advisory board either into a JV board or into a fiduciary board, do so with great care and great caution. I do believe you can get value from any of these structures, but you're not going to get any value if you rush into it without careful consideration as to who's on that board, how they work together, how the skills fit, and how you work them. I have a simple model with the chair at the center, as you might expect, of a compass. There's a north, south, east, and west dimension. On the north, the chair is really deeply responsible, especially if the chair is the entrepreneur founder, for the skill sets around that table. And those are the hard skills. Do we need somebody who's been in China before and understands that market? Do we need somebody who's done a software as a service platform before? Somebody else who's seen our movie? The hard skills, you got to work that, and you got to work it hard. And when you find the hard skill, you then have to worry about the soft skill. Is this person effective in a boardroom setting where EQ and listening is really as important as speaking? Does this person have a considered judgment? Does this person have a diversity of views? Does this person use the one mouth he gets which closes, or the two ears, which both are open all the time? So the northern part of the compass responsible to the chair are the people around the boardroom table. If there's a dissonant director or somebody's taking up too much airtime, it's the chair's job to help that person do a better job. So it's hard skills and soft. On the right-hand side, pointing east, I've got the agenda. And we've talked about that in earlier videos, but the agenda setting is a huge investment decision. Do not let it go by just by happenstance. On the south, we have board briefing papers. And I've not spent much time on that, but you know, over 200 board evaluations, the single most effective means of improving board performance and adding value has been to improve the business papers coming to the board. Think about that Grand Canyon metaphor again. Boards over there, not knowing that much, spending limited time, management teams completely involved. It's both sides' responsibility that the communication across that chasm is such that it gives the board as amateur experts a chance to opine in a meaningful way on the real problems of the business, not a generic kind of, well, in most cases, we this. That briefing paper gap is a huge challenge to most companies who are in the startup early stages because they've never had to do it before. So again, I turn to the chair and I would say to the chair, please evaluate the quality of the papers at the end of every meeting. Then go and sit down with the CEO and talk about it. Executive C tends to be really well organized, hugely capable of getting sort of three fundamental reasons why we could do this. The appendices help understand in more depth, but the paper's well written, it's clear, memorable, and compelling. Executive X, on the other hand, just dumps data on us. And try as hard as I cannot figure out what the point of it all is. One of the boards that I was involved with, the management used to produce 700 pages of stuff for each board meeting. An absolute waste of time on their side and a complete waste of time on the board side because they didn't ever figure out what it was management wanted to do. So briefing papers are a huge improvement opportunity in most cases. That's the southern extension, and I look to the chair to lead that process. And the western extension is easier. It's just structures. Do we have an audit committee? Do we have an HR committee? Do we have a governance committee? Those three would be the most common in the publicly traded world. Maybe we need a risk committee if you're in the financial services industry. Maybe we need a high-tech committee. Walmart's just done that, set up a high-tech committee, as has John Deere and IBM. Maybe we need this, maybe we need that structurally. So, chair at the center, northern axis, southern axis, who's on the board, and a southern axis are briefing papers. East axis is what is on the agenda and have we thought that through. And the west axis is how do we structure ourselves in terms of getting our work done in an effective way. If you work this, your boards can be value added. If you just kind of set them up and throw them in the pond, I can assure you it's going to be a substantial waste of time. I did a survey of 200 directors, and we found that 85% of them found themselves highly effective or effective. We then went to the 20 CEOs and we said to them, how many of your directors are effective or highly effective? The answer came back, 15%. So it's not typical to find that boards and management teams do not communicate in a way that enables them both to gain value added from the investment they make in the time together. And I'll leave it with a quote from Irving Olds, who was the CEO of U.S. Steel in 1940. At that time, one of the most important companies in the world because it was making steel for the war effort, but also one of the largest market cap companies on the New York Stock Exchange. And Mr. Olds was asked about his board. He said, directors, parsley on the fish, decorative but not useful. Make sure you do better. Thank you very much.